We're live. What is going on? Welcome to the OG Frenchy. Hanging out in my lawnmower shed again, working on some blades. And in particular, working on this French saber. And so far, so good. Hey, let's go! Got the old French mustache. That's what you call that. Or a French saber, either way, but I prefer the French mustache. Okay? Okay! Anyway, good thing nobody's in here yet, because I'm being a little weird. Anyway, yeah. So, we're working on the French saber. I got this thing heat treated today, and it went really, really well. I ran some thermocycling on it and relaxed the steel quite a bit. I had a warp in this thing prior to quenching it. I was trying to kind of run thermocycling cycles through the forge, and what I did was I had two single burner forges, butted them up together to try to get it long enough to stick this thing in and out of. And the tip wasn't quite in there, and the tang wasn't quite in there. It was heating up this section really good, but it wasn't getting the tang or the tip. So, you know, I was kind of pushing it in and out of the forge, trying to keep it nice and hot. And I went around to the other side because I had my tongs on this side, and I was going back and forth. I went around to the other side to grab the tip and started doing some in and outs, and I made the mistake of turning it sideways, and just the sheer weight of this thing, the blade was like, and it kind of started to droop. So anyway, I spent a little bit of time re-straightening that. You live and you learn, right? So this is the first time I've ever tried to make a sword this long, and yeah, you live and you learn. But anyway, I got it fixed. I ran some thermocycles in the forge, relaxed the steel quite a bit. I threw in my thermocouple and really tweaked my forge really good. In fact, I've got it right outside here. I'll show you. What's going on, people? Well, and Damien. How's it going, guys? Thanks for popping in and saying hello. My name is Matt. I am a normal, everyday dude, and I like to hang out in my backyard and make knives, blades, small knives, swords, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, what's up? A lot of people in here saying, hey, that's cool. Anyway, so I'm out here at the forge, and I have two single burner forges, and I was really concentrating on dialing these down to get the heat low enough to be able to heat treat it in. But you can see my little air intake here. I don't know if you can pick that up or not. It is like barely open. So I had this thing cranked all the way down, and my propane was like barely on. So anyway, with a little bit of tweaking, we were able to get this thing right to hover around about 1550. I was shooting for 1525, and I almost got it down to that. But anyway, got it heat treated. It went really well, and yeah, now I'm working on grinding in the bevels. I'm gonna throw you back up here on the stand really fast. There we go. So anyway, working on the bevels. What is going on, y'all? Welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you're hitting up all the hearts and the emojis in the corner. That's cool. Right on, y'all. Right on. Anyway, so figured I would just kind of throw the phone on, let it record. I am right in the middle of grinding in the bevels to this. I got the fuller put in prior to heat treating this, and that was quite the task. You can see it's not perfect. I wish that it was, and I can spend some more time trying to get it a little straighter You know, basically these lines here, they have a few little dips and waves in them. I'll tell you though, doing a fuller on a sword this long for the first time was pretty challenging. Yeah, it definitely was. What I ended up doing was putting a tool rest on my grinder and pretty much just letting the tool rest hold the spine of the knife. Let me drop you down here and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. So I was actually doing the grinding on a 4-inch contact wheel, but I had the tool rest here and pretty much just had it sitting in down here, and then that way I could take the spine of the knife, lay it on here, and then just run it basically back and forth along the contact wheel. And so that definitely helped to get it somewhat decent. It's not perfect, but anyway, you know, I can still work on it some and try to straighten it out. Natasha has a question. I got a question, she says, or he says. What's going on? What's your question? Emma's gaming channel is on here. What's up, Emma? Thanks for saying hi. And Saeed Power is on here. What's up, Saeed? We got quite a few people in here. What's going on, people? What are you guys up to this weekend? It is a beautiful Saturday where I'm at, and I am just hanging out, doing what I like to do. What are you guys up to? Hopefully something fun. Yeah. How much does it cost to do a sword? Great question. How much does it cost to do a sword? Well, that depends. So it really depends on the material of your sword. This particular one is made from 60 layers of alternating steel. So I have 80 CRV2 and 15 and 20, which are two different metals, and they're commonly used in making Damascus. Let's see here. I might be able to get you guys a shot to where you can see the pattern. I don't have the blade etched at the moment, so it's hard to pick up the pattern, but maybe if I spin you around and get it in the light, you might be able to pick up some of it. But anyway, so if you're doing the sword out of expensive knife steel, then the sword can be expensive, and it can cost quite a bit. Let me get my Wi-Fi and we'll see if that helps. Hopefully that will reload the chat. Sometimes it does. Other times it does not. So anyway, if you're in here, let me know you're in here. Say hey so that I know you can hear me and see me. So we got that side looking decent for the most part. Like I was saying earlier, it's really hard to, once you get up to this tip, I'm doing all this by hand, so trying to hold it steady with all this extra weight at the end is kind of a challenge. You almost have to grind it in sections. So that's kind of what I've been doing, is just doing, you know, a little bit here, and then I'll stop and I'll move my hands, do a little bit more, stop and move and do a little bit more. And I think for the most part that's been working okay. I'll probably have to go back Once I move up to a different belt, I'll go back and make sure to smooth all this out. That way I got a good, solid bevel instead of a bunch of little weird wavy transitions and stuff. Right now I've got the 50 grit ceramic belt on here, so my main goal is really just kind of hogging off the material at the moment. I've got this side pretty well good back here, and we're just working our way up to the tip at the moment. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that little part out real quick, and then we can move on to doing some other stuff. I'm gonna move you over here so that I can grind without hitting the tripod. There we go. I've also got a bucket of water down here, and I'm dipping the blade in there just to keep it cool. Since this sword is already hardened, just really want to try my best to not overheat the metal. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I don't see anybody saying anything. I do see that people are in here, but let me know if you can hear me. That way I know that we've got a good connection. The last thing that I see is Tiffany McIntosh said, "I'm at my aunt's." And that is all I can see. I don't know why YouTube does this. A lot of times I get on here to do this live stream, and it will just stop. It'll stop showing me the comments for some reason. Let's see here. Trying to figure out a way to reset the comments. I figured this out last time, and now I can't remember. Let's see. Hey, what's going on, Duck? Duck is in the house. Yo, yo, my man. How's it going, dude? Swap it to the top, then back to all. Swap it to the top, then go back. Okay, well, at least I can see your message, so I know somebody's in here. I got 7 people hanging out with me. So yeah, anyway, Duck hanging out, working on the saber, trying to get the bevels ground in, and so far it's going okay. I got this thing heat treated this morning. I got it quenched, and got the fuller kind of reground in and working on the bevels. I've got a long way to go because this thing is needing to be done by this next coming weekend. So I have, what is that? Basically 1 week, which seems like a lot of time, but for all the crap I still have to do to this thing, it is going to be pushing it for sure. I'm right now just kind of finalize that. It's still pretty wavy in some spots, and kind of tightening up these lines right here. It'd be really nice to get those crispy, but hey, it's a work in progress, and doing something this stinking long is a challenge, no doubt. Where is my ruler? I know I got one somewhere. Here it is. I guess this wouldn't be a ruler, you would call this a yardstick. But here is the yardstick and the sword. So we've got from the back of the ricasso up to the tip, we are just about 28 inches. So that is a lot of sword, at least for me. I think the next biggest one I did was the one that's hanging on the wall over here, and that one's probably like 1.5 feet maybe. That saber up over top of the AC unit. And that one right there was kind of a challenge just because that was like a pretty long one for the time. I think I made that one maybe a year ago or so-ish. Yeah, Duck, you do have a lot of grinding to do with a tired grinder. Man, that stinks, brother. It really does. I was just sitting here looking at this thing earlier today thinking, man, I love this thing. I love this machine. It is freaking awesome. But mine too is very tired. He's like a 85-year-old man back here with a 20-year-old body. He's ready to go, but he's super tired and he needs a nap. I pretty much can only do about 10 or 15 minutes worth of grinding before this thing just gets way too hot. It doesn't smoke, but you can just tell. You can put your hand even close and feel the heat, and you put your hand on it and it's almost too warm to keep your hand on it. And that just sucks, you know? It's like it is a cool grinder, and I definitely got a lot of use out of it, but yeah, I feel you there. It is frustrating. How did you start making swords? Chevy guy, I didn't see you. What's up, man? Thank you. How did you start making swords, or how did you find the hobby? Well, so back in 2022, it was actually a couple of days after Christmas, and my brother and I were hanging out here at the house, and we were bored, and I was like, dude, we should get a fire going in the ground, and I've got an old hair dryer. We should oxygen into the fire and try to forge something. And so we did, and that is how it all started. I actually have the very first thing that I ever forged in my entire existence. The very first piece of that I forged. Let's open it up and take a look at the So Pretty box. This is the box that hangs out under the table that I don't show anybody because it's full of pretty fugly blades. But I got to start somewhere. That is for sure. So, here she is in all of her glory. Please do not laugh when you see this thing. It is a piece of rebar, and I remember when I remember forging this and thinking to myself, hell yeah, dude, this is badass. And it still is kind of cool, I guess. You know, it's an old piece of rebar that we forged out to like a little, I don't even know what you call that, a clip point maybe. Ground in some little finger deals here, and then I welded a nut on the back of it for like a pommel. And this was the very first blade I ever made. And this is what started all of this other crap, is this stupid little piece of rebar blade. And it is not very sharp. I think it was at one point, but you know, it's rebar, so probably not very hard. I think I did try to heat treat this. I did dunk it in water, if I remember correctly. I got it to like you know, a good cherry red, hit it in the water, and the first knife was born. Anyway, this was the first one. Since we got the turd box out, we'll keep going. Number 2. Where are you, number 2? So, number 2. How do you do, Frenchy? What's up, Newt? How are you, man? I got some people hanging out in here. Knife number 2. Out of the turd box. That's what we're talking about, Randy. We're talking about the beginning of knife making. Natasha asked how I got started, and I got started with the rebar knife. This was forged with me and my brother. And so after that knife, I'm like, man, that was so much fun. I want to do it again, but I want to make like a better knife. And the second one, I did not forge at all. I started looking up different stuff on knife making, and a lot of people that were first starting out started talking about making metal knives, or knives out of metal files. And so that's what I did for number 2, and it is pretty fugly as well. It's like a butter knife, honestly. But this is a metal file, and it's got a really pretty good convex grind. And I actually, it just happened. I made this one just through stock removal, and I ground it on this grinder right here, which is a 4x36. And so I think I pretty much just ended up with, the convex grind because I wasn't very good and I was trying to kind of move it to do stuff. And anyway, that is the butter knife with a funky shape. What kind of handle is that? Seriously. It's a butter knife with a goofy handle. It doesn't feel good at all. It's all wide on the side and skinny this way. But yeah, that's how it goes when you start anything, I guess, a hobby. You start out making some turds. I do like this thing though, because it's a good reminder of where I started. And there's the crummy little sheath for it. So yeah, let's put you back up here. That one actually is pretty decent in comparison to some of these others in here. I'll show you a few more turds that I got in this box. Let's see. Knife number 3 and knife number 4. These were me attempting to experiment with different things, and I decided, you know what, maybe I'm going to make a knife out of a saw blade. And so I did. And God, is this thing horrendous. Knife number 3 with with a goofy shape, a sharp thing here that hurts your hand. It's like, what was I thinking? Anyway, cedar for the handle. I did get some liners in there though, so that was pretty cool. And I had the exposed tang with the shoelace deal. So I was trying to up my game a little bit on this one. I didn't quite have the knife profile thing figured out, but I did put on a pretty decent handle, other than the fact that it's gigantic. Yes, you seem to like making gigantic handles. This one is huge, absolutely massive, but it almost feels good. It was kind of close, but not quite. Anyway, yeah, that was number 3. Number 4 was a saw blade as well. This is walnut. Awesome pin placement. I nailed that one and almost nailed that one. And this is just another saw blade. I tried doing the mustard etch on this. So this is just French's mustard and then letting it sit. And, at the time I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I put it back in the turd box. So this one's at least a little skinnier bit of handle, but very blocky. I don't know what I did up here. I mean, I'm telling you, I started off with some pretty bad ones. But yeah, it is what it is. What else do we got? Then I made my brother a knife out of a metal file. This is just a big old beefy metal file with kind of a roundish sort of handle. And this one's also got kind of a convex sort of edge to it. And it's actually somewhat sharp still. But it's funny, I gave it to him and it's still over here in the turd box. I don't think he was like, oh, great, thanks for the knife. Appreciate it. Anyway, what else do we got in the turd box? We've got a couple more. Maybe just one more. This was the very first knife I ever made a YouTube video on. This was the San Mai blade, and this one is 1080 with a 15 and 20 core, and definitely a better handle, much thinner, and I did kind of the rock pattern. This one actually feels fantastic. It's a little bit of a big blade. I don't really make them this profile much anymore with the big honking finger thing here. All it does, probably, yeah, a few. So anyway, this was cool because it was the first San Mai I ever tried. I also got my etch, or my maker's mark. So, you know, I'm still trying different things out at this point. And yeah, anyway, I've got a few turds to use as teaching aids. Nice, I like that. Teaching as in what not to do. Let's see, I've used cedar. I really like to gum up the belts, then did a super glue stabilizing. Nice. Cedar's an awesome wood. You know, maybe not necessarily for knife handles. I guess it could be. I mean, this one's cedar. It's just a kind of a plain grain, but it is pretty nice wood for the most part. I actually used some sort of a spray on this, a polyurethane or something, like the wood coat, to kind of just coat it, to protect it. But yeah, that's what I used on this one, and that's pretty cool. I like the raindrop handle shape. Nice. That's a respectable knife. No glaring design flaws. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so it's like at that point, I'm at least, you know, making blades a little bit better. Trying to, anyway. And I'm still not that great. I mean, honestly, where am I at today? Where did the dang thing go? You know, there are tons of flaws in this. Mainly just in the grinding, because I'm still in the middle of it, but you know, it's just not perfect. I don't think you could ever make a perfectly good knife. At least I can't. But each time I make one, I'm trying to step it up for sure. So yeah, so anyway, Duck, you're doing the Gladius, right, out of a wrench. I think I saw parts of the video you put out, and I really like that idea. I think it's cool. Hopefully you can get enough time to finish grinding it, because I would like to see it finished, and hopefully you can turn it in before it's due. That would be awesome. And what about you, Randy? Are you doing anything, any sort of blade for the military challenge? That would be cool. So anyway, yeah, we're still over here. We're grinding in on the bevels a little bit. We'll turn you back around. Probably not going to hang for too long, as, you know, it's probably not going to be super fun just watching me grind, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm jobless currently, so I should have enough time. Good, that's good. Who needs a job anyway, man? That's what I'm saying. You are your own worst critic. You're better than you give yourself credit for. Hey, I appreciate that. I 100% agree. I've always been my worst critic, and I think people in general can be hard on themselves, you know? It's like, you have to, like, you set yourself the standard and then try to work up to meet the standard that you set. So anyway, for where I'm at in my knife making journey, I'm okay with where I'm at with this blade. You know, I've done a lot of firsts with this one. It's the first 60-layer Damascus anything I've made. It's the first long sword. It's the first one with a long fuller in it. And I'm also later going to be, hopefully tomorrow, trying to cast a handle. I can take you outside real quick and show you what I've got going on for that. I basically bought this crucible on Amazon to melt brass down, and I was planning on just popping this into the forge, and I was like, oh yeah, no, it'll fit, but it really doesn't fit. I was going to stand the forge up on its butt and then just melt it that way, but I don't think that's going to work. So earlier today, I got an old pot and filled it with some kale wool, coated it, and now we have enough room to drop this thing in. And my idea is basically just to, you know, use this as a forge. I got a spot here where I cut out a little hole for the burner to fit into. I should be able to open that up and cram it in. And then hopefully I'll be able to cast a handle. I've also made a little wood box. It's actually sitting over there on my table. You can see I've got the box chilling there. And I bought some casting sand. So I'm going to give that a go. If not, then I'm going to have to do a plan B, which I do not have yet. So I'm hoping that it goes good. But I should be plenty of brass sitting here. And then I've got a bunch of leftover chunks of brass. Here is the piece of foam that I got. So it's technically not that much, I feel like. And then this should be plenty of brass to fill this thing up. So I'm doing the lost foam casting technique, where essentially you just bury the foam into the sand and then pour it, and then it's supposed to just take the shape of the foam as it kind of vaporizes the foam when you go to pour it. Let's see, Natasha. Am I saying that right? Probably not. I'm terrible with pronouncing names. You are making already 3-year swords and knives. How many swords and knives did you make, and what's your favorite? Natasha. Okay, cool. So, my favorite one so far. Man, that's a hard question. Honestly, I really have enjoyed making this one, the one that we're working on. But because it's not a complete blade, I would say I've probably got 2 favorites. I'll grab them and show you. It would have to be in between these 2. The first one that I got is a saber as well. So basically the same idea as this sword here, but just a little bit smaller. And I made this out of a really large wrench. So it's kind of got that saber swoop to the end of it. This was actually the head of the wrench, and the tang was the head of the wrench, and then this part was the handle. And then on the other side, it had another open-ended box style type wrench. But anyway, this is really cool. This was a ton of fun forging this thing out. What size wrench was it? Man, I don't know. I actually have the head of, I think the head's outside. The other side of the wrench is still out here. Here it is right here. Does it have a size on it? 1.25 inches is what that says. So yeah, this was the leftover piece I didn't need. But anyway, this thing was like this. The handle went probably all the way down to here. And then it had another one of these down here. And so I pretty much just utilized the handle and one of the heads. The wrench I'm making my Gladius from was 1.25 inches. No way, dude. That's funny. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Looks like 1.25 inches here. Well, good choice, my guy. 1.25 inches seems to be the route to go. Yeah, that's funny. But anyway, yeah, I saved this steel because, man, I'm telling you, I have had some good heat treats and some good cutting blades and some bad cutting blades. This one is a freaking cutter. I don't know what the wrench is made from. Obviously some high carbon steel of some sort, but I nailed the heat treat and this thing is just a beast. So I wanted to save that other piece and maybe one day I'll forge it out into a knife of some sort. But anyway, that's one of my favorites there. Just a cool handle. It's got wood and epoxy, got brass for the guard. This little knuckle bow was one of the heads of the wrench. And then the other one that might be one of my other favorites is this one. I don't know why I like this one so much. It's just cool to me. It's got a really long handle, but just kind of got like a medieval type of vibe to it. And I don't know, just really like it. What's up, Ted? How are you, man? Glad you could make it in here. I got almost all my people in here. That is freaking cool. Except for Scott. I don't see him much. He doesn't comment much, but I know he's out there watching, so that's cool. So anywhooser, yeah, just hanging out with my dudes. Again, with with the gigantic handles. What can I say, man? I like a good beefy handle. I really do. This one actually is pretty thin this direction. It's just kind of beefy this way. But a lot of this stuff that I get is from a hardwood store, and they come in like planks, so they're only ever really that wide. And, can cut them out of like big rectangles, basically. But yeah. Anyway, the more I do knives, though, I'll tell you, I did start making really large handles in the beginning, and the more that I make, the smaller I tend to make the handles, and I think that is probably, probably make oversized handles, because this makes sense. You're afraid to take material off. You don't know. When you get a handle somewhat good and comfortable, you're like, oh, okay, boom, there it is. But little do you know, if you keep going, you could actually make it even more comfortable. It's one of those things in knife making, for me at least, that was always kind of a hard thing to decide. How am I going to shape the handle? How wide am I going to make it? And at what point is it going to be good? So that's something I've, kind of slowly figured out. Big hands need bigger handles. That is true, no doubt about that. So that is a very good point. Anyway, where are we at? 45 minutes. That's about where I like to do them. 45 minutes or an hour or so. I definitely have a lot of work left to do on this darn thing. It's looking decent so far. I was telling them earlier, Ted, I'm trying to finish, first of all, grinding the bevels. So obviously going for a French saber. And after looking it up, I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's a correlation between the French saber or any saber and a saber grind. And lo and behold, that's where it got its name, from the saber. So my idea here was to do kind of like a long, fuller, stop it towards the end here, and then utilize the saber grind, trying to get it up to the start of the fuller. So anyway, I think for the most part we're getting close. I'm just kind of continuing to creep this line up to the edge, and then I'll need to go in and probably hit the fuller up again with the smoother belt. It's still a little on the rough side, but anyway, we are making it. It's just a lot of work to get this thing to look good. And I may not have enough time to get it to look perfect, but if I can at least get it looking somewhat presentable, I'll wrap it up and turn it in. Anyway, if you can get those grinds nice and clean with no wobbles, that thing is going to be sweet. Yeah, definitely. For sure. It's got a good profile, nice subtle curve. It's just the wobbles. But, once I was thinking about this too. Once you grind in the bevels, when it's all good, shiny, clean steel, the wobbles stick out like a sore thumb. But when you go to etch something, and since this is going to be etched, you will probably and most likely not even see the wobbles if I have some in here. I know on the other Damascus blade I did, that was kind of the case. I didn't do a fuller, but grinding in the bevels, they weren't uniform. They weren't perfectly uniform. And after trying to grind them good, I just couldn't get them perfect. But after etching them, you didn't really tell. At least you can't see it that much. Anyway, so I've got some more grinding to do. I'm getting close though. I'll probably throw this on and grind for a little bit and see where we get. Yeah, that's my other problem too, is I like to go really slow on almost all the steps, and so for me to bust something out quickly is really hard. I just feel like if I go too fast and I screw up, it's just gonna slow me down. So I just do, a little bit at a time. I'll probably take another 30 minutes to finish the bevels. And once I end the live stream, I'll probably super focus on trying to get this line good and all that stuff. But it does take me a while. I'm definitely not fast at making blades. I wish that I was. I guess if I'm doing like a, quick forge to finish style blade, then that can go pretty quick. Like this one right here. This one I just forged out fairly recently. This is the kukri from a farrier's rasp. And this one was basically just like, hey, I'm going to forge in the bevels and grind a little bit. And you can see the bevels kind of go a little bit. And that's pretty much it for the most part. Yeah, Randy, man, you nailed it. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You got it, dog. I'm not fast at grinding. I just forge in such a way that there's no grinding to do. See, that's good too. Just profile and sharpen. I like that idea. That's kind of where I got with this one. It's like, you know what? I'm going to forge in the bevels and then I don't have a ton of grinding to do. And this one was a lot of fun to forge out. This one took me one forging session, and then I threw it in the corner of the shop and forgot about it. But then when I found it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to finish this out. And it might have taken me another forging session to forge it out, and then maybe another day or so to grind it, etch it, and do the handle. The handle's pretty cool. It's got the tapered tang to it and about the right thickness here. I'm really digging this handle a lot. It's got a good swell here, and it's still a little thicker here, and then it kind of swoops down towards the back, and that really helps the little curve of your hand here. This one just feels really good. I forged out one of those at a market. It was about an hour for me. Nice. I saw that video. You gave the hammer I made you quite the workout. I sure did, man. This thing, that hammer definitely helped with stretching and widening this thing out, no doubt. You can actually still see where your hammer marks are. It's your fault, Randy. Damn it. Just kidding. Totally my fault because, I'm not the best at forging. But, hey, it definitely widened it out. It just almost did too good of a job, and you can still see a few of those hammer marks. But hey, that's part of it, you know. You gotta forge on and learn from your forging, and it's always a work in progress for sure. I'm like a squirrel. I get a little thought, and then I chase that thought for a minute, or I see something and I'm like, ooh, what's that? And I go look at it. I swear I cannot stay focused on anything. Man, I wish you guys could pick this pattern up. It's really hard to get it in the light, but it's really cool. It's got kind of like towards the cutting edge, it's kind of like straight layers that are wavy along here, and then as it gets into this fuller, it does a bunch of crazy stuff. So it should be pretty cool once it gets etched. I'm excited for that. And yeah, anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing the rest of today and some of tomorrow. I'm going to be working on this thing, and I'm hoping that I can get a good bit of it done by then. I'm going to try to cast the handle tomorrow, and I would imagine it's going to take me pretty much all week to work on refining the handle, because I got to work, and that only leaves me, 2 or 3 hours each day after work to try to work on it. So I'm really hoping I get a lot of good progress done tomorrow, but we'll see, I guess. Yeah. Thank you, Ted. Appreciate that. Well, I am probably going to wrap it up here. We're almost at an hour. That's about as much as I like to do in one sitting, because I just get I don't do what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be working on this darn thing, and I'm just yapping away. So anyway, really appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks. Oh boy. There you go. See, I'm dropping you. That's how you know it's time. When I drop you on the floor, then you know it is time to wrap it up. Yeah. I'll tell you too, this belt right here, I don't know if you guys have ever had this belt or tried this belt, but I am really, really digging this thing. So when I started this morning, I had on a old, this one right here, this old ceramic belt. And I was kind of grinding in the 45s, and I forgot to change it. I'm like, man, these bevels are taking forever. What is going on? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to change my belt to a new belt. This one is, what is this thing? 3M Cubitron 2, whatever that means. I think it's a 50 grit. Yeah, 50 grit belt. This thing absolutely shreds the metal. Oh my gosh. I have, kind of like the cheap Amazon belts, like a bunch of these ones, and they're okay. They do grind a lot of metal off in the beginning, but they don't last very long. And this thing right here is still plenty coarse. Yeah, Cubitron is supposed to be really good. I am here to tell you it absolutely is. This thing cost me $12, I think, which is ridiculous, but it really is a good belt. I'm curious to see how well it'll hold up, honestly. At what point will it stop cutting really nice? I don't know. But so far, it's a wicked good belt. And I don't know if it's worth the money. Maybe. We'll have to see, I guess. I'll have to try and get some in 2x48. Yeah, hopefully you can, because it is really good. I actually just got onto Pops and bought a few new belts. I'm trying different brands and trying to find, I'm trying to find the best belt for the money. This one was super expensive, but so far it's definitely lived up to the extra bit of dough. This thing cut like butter. I mean, just barely pushing into it, and it was a 4th of July firework, set of sparks down there. So super good. I am also trying just weird belts like this 3M Trizac belt, some scalloped belts. I've got a couple more ordered that are just kind of weird. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get a few odd belts and just see what they're about. Red Label is one that I have not tried, but I hear a lot of good things about that. I'll definitely have to look into that. Anyway, that's about it, y'all. I need to get back to it, so appreciate you guys hanging out and spending your time with me. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Seems like you are. Keep rocking and rolling on the forging and whatnot. And yeah, looking forward to finishing this thing up. It's going to be awesome. Whether it gets finished in time or not, I'm hoping that it will. It will get finished regardless. So anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Really appreciate you guys. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.